Welcome to Joe's Astrology, and this is the birth chart for the newly elected Pope. And before I get started, I am doing readings right now for only $50. So get in contact with me. We can do a video call or a phone call. Now, this is not the rising. This is not his rising sign. I don't know the birth time for him, but we do have his birthday, and he is a Sun, Venus, and Virgo, and a moon in Virgo here. More likely than not, it's moon in Leo. So we don't know where his moon sign is, but let's get into it, and let's start with this Leo here. And we have a Pluto in Leo. Will be the last. This will more likely than not be the last Pluto. Hopefully, the last Pluto in Leo. Pope and Jupiter's there as well. So we have Jupiter, Pluto, and Leo, and this is perfect for the Pope. More likely than not, as I said, the moon will be in Leo as well, because oftentimes you see these figures, these larger than life figures, these heads of state, heads of religion, etc. They will have a lot of Leo, and Jupiter in Leo. This is a person who likes to be center stage. They like to be in front of people. They like the attention. And if you don't know me, if you haven't really watched many of my videos, I grew up Catholic, and I studied the Pope extensively in my teenage to later adolescent years, specifically when we had Pope Benedict. And I also, spent a lot of time around different priests, and I met many priests that had this Leo. Of course, it's not all of them, but many of them have these Leo placements, stelliums in Leo, etc. Which I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It's just it just goes to show you that these are the kinds of people. More likely than not, these are the kinds of people you're going to have in charge because they enjoy the spotlight. You can also see as Uranus in Leo. So technically he has possibly 4 planets in Leo. And then we have this Virgo. Sun, Venus, and Mars in Virgo. Which for a Pope, I don't think isn't necessarily a bad thing. Because they talk about this a lot with the Leo. A lot of times Leo has a lot of Virgo in the chart, and Virgo has a lot of Leo in the chart. And by no means is this in all cases, because this is an example that's close to me. My sister had a stellium in Leo, and she had no planets in the sign of Virgo, despite being a sun in Leo. So, but many times we do see that. And this could be, a guy who, on the outside, he is going to look. We see this Sun Venus. He's going to be very attractive. He's going to look like this humble person. On the outside, he would look like the perfect priest, the perfect cardinal, pope, etc. Because he really shows these Virgo humble is a key word we think of for Virgo. Service. He shows that he has these qualities of service, humility, and he has this Mars here. This, his drive and his motivation is for service, and all these great Virgo qualities that a pope or a public servant you would expect would have. But then again, the internal motivation. What's the internal motivation? That the stuff that you might not see on the outside, and that is the moon, Pluto, and we could even throw in Jupiter there as well. Would be to be center stage, to get attention, and without knowing the person, you really don't know. Is this bad? Is this good? I don't think it's really either. I'm sure if you getting to know the person, getting to know this Pope, it's quite possible that is a positive thing that really is going to back this Virgo stuff. You know, that would give him the energy and motivation to do as much, or to serve others as much as possible in a positive, you know, think in a Leo positive way. You can see the nodes here. The North Node is in Sagittarius, and you know, really getting into why is he a pope? Why is he a Catholic priest? Well, we spoke about all the Virgo and the service stuff. The humility, and Virgo is often associated with, would be associated with someone who's giving up the pleasures in life. And then obviously the Leo is a fire sign, and you can see this Jupiter is in the second decan of Leo, which would be Sagittarius. You know, so he has that Jupiter associated, really closely associated with Sagittarius. You know, speaking of Sagittarius, with my chart, I have Jupiter in Sagittarius, and he has this North Node where he's headed in Sagittarius. So really looking at this just based on that, there's no going back. According to that alone, he's headed full steam towards religious circles. And then obviously the North Node is ruled by Jupiter. And we could even say Pluto is associated with wealth, and we have that Jupiter-Pluto combination. We also have this Jupiter sextile Neptune as well, which we see, you know, Neptune's in Libra there. It's ruled by Venus. He has that Venus sun. I mean, this is a guy who is not just headed towards religious circles, but it's not going to be in the poor religious circles. More likely than not, it's going to be in the luxurious religious circles, as he would be in the Vatican. And even, I mean, I don't know that much about him, but if he's an American priest, certainly more likely than not, wouldn't be in the more poorer areas of the world. Then we have a South Node, where he's coming from here in Gemini. That is ruled by Mercury, and we see his Mercury it's there with Neptune in Libra, and that rules the South Node. So where he's coming from, he's a social guy, which is good to have. You know, it's also good to have with all this Virgo, because and even the Virgo and the Leo, because this is really having this Mercury in Libra. This is going to be a guy who isn't afraid or isn't hesitant to socialize. He wants to be, and you see his mind there, Mercury. He wants to spend time with the public. You see Neptune there. Neptune's also associated with service and helping people. He has that Neptune-Mercury conjunction there, and that Mercury is in the Aquarius decan. So this is going to be another socially minded pope. And my father has Neptune's sun conjunction in Libra, and he is very, you know, he wouldn't say he helps people on a regular basis, but when he sees the opportunity, he's there. That's kind of like the Neptune being there involved. So far, we really see this Pope being all this stuff right here is, I would say, is very positive for someone in the Pope's position. And then he has Saturn in Scorpio. I have Saturn in Scorpio. Notice there's no retrograde either. Yeah, this is a guy who's outgoing. He doesn't need to rethink things based on that. We see the Saturn is making a sextile to the Sun, that Venus, and that Mars, that stellium there, which is really cool because this is a very, this gives this stellium here more responsibility, more seriousness, more weight to it. because I do think someone in his position should have a good combination of seriousness and laughter here with this Leo, and fun. And we can see that this node here, if we're looking at evolutionary astrology, which is what I like to do primarily, the nodes of the moon are being squared by Venus. And we can see there's really a need to resolve this south node. And there's really a good back and forth between the left brain, Gemini, and the right brain. And it has to do with Venus, that Venus sun. So it has to do with relationships. It has to do with money. Money and relationships. That is where we see this square. And he has a sextile between the rulers. So if we're looking at it, just as a personal basis, without knowing that he's a pope, this is a guy who's going to find himself around money, number one, and he's going to find himself around lots of different people. They kind of go hand in hand. Networking, people pleasing, knowing a lot of people, knowing the right people. What does this square mean? I guess time will tell. Maybe I'll do another one if I get to know him a little bit better. So that is the new Pope Leo. Pope Leo. And look at that. I didn't even think about that. That stellium in Leo, particularly that Jupiter-Pluto. So thanks for watching and have a great day.